All entrepreneurs that sustain their wealth for generations all have a common attribute. They know how to get exactly what they want. The art of social engineering comes down to verbal manipulation and speaking in a manner that benefits them in their favor. Today, I'll be revealing what all these ultra wealthy entrepreneurs do not want you to know and how you can use this to your advantage in your business. But first, let's talk about what social engineering exactly is. There's two definitions. Number one, the Google term. And number two, the business term. Google states, in the context of information security, social engineering is the psychological manipulation of people into performing actions or divulging confidential information. Now, at face value, that sounds absolutely terrible. But in business terms, it's more so knowing of how you can speak to people in order to get them to do what you need them to do. And that might sound bad, but in business terms, it's knowing how to speak to people and in order to gain to your benefit inside of the business world. Social engineering is more or less training your brain to be the smartest person in the room. So let me give you an example of how exactly social engineering works. Let's say for instance, you're willing to pay a video editor £300 per video. However, he's charging £450, but you don't even have the capital to pay him that large amount of money. So what you will use is social engineering in order to make them believe that they'll be missing out even on the £300, when in reality, you're just getting what you want. So let's say you upload once a week on YouTube and you can only pay that video editor £300, but he's still charging the £450. Instead of telling him that you're going to give him £300, tell him that he's going to be making £1,200 per month. Because in social engineering, you want to make them believe that something is better than it actually is, when in reality, they're still getting the £300 per video. But the bigger number comes with better value, so they're going to be thinking that they're getting more out of it, and then you've just successfully used social engineering to your advantage. People view it as a taboo thing in business. However, every single businessman uses it. And as I previously said, it trains your brain to be sharp and to be the smartest one in the room. You're going to be taking notes constantly. Gather information on people.
I think manipulation has a negative connotation, but I don't necessarily believe that it's negative, right? Like, you need to be able to learn how to manipulate people in a positive way. Yep. Right? Because it can be mutually beneficial for both parties. When I say manipulate, it's like, oh, I'm going to burn this guy to the ground. No, to me, manipulating in a positive sense is being able to strategically think, okay, how do I get myself in this door? Maybe it's a soft little DM to a person that knows a person, right? And connecting with them and then being able to find your way to get to that person. I mean, life's about manipulation, right? They talk about it in the 48 Laws of Power.
So let me give you another example. The very frowned upon movie, The Social Network. Although people look down on Mark Zuckerberg for stealing other people's ideas, that just shows you that you should never ever be the loudest one in the room, and you should always be listening, because the more information you hold on people is the more power that you can have in your hands. If people wasn't so loud about their business ideas, then Mark Zuckerberg wouldn't be so successful as he is. And that's another important aspect to social engineering that you need to keep in your mind at all times. So how do you even learn social engineering? The first step that you need to take on is changing the way of how you speak and the vocabulary that you use. The easiest way that you can implement this is just substitute normal words for bigger and better words that people view as more value in their head, when in reality, it's just another term for the same thing. Let me give you an example. So for instance, let's say that you're talking to a business person and you say, I can't start my business because I have no money to start up. Well, you would replace startup with the word capital. And rather than saying that you've made £2,000 this month, say that you made £2,000 in net profit. These simple changes will make you seem way more credible to the higher up people that are inside of the industry, because in reality, they do mean the same thing. And I don't use a lot of big words. However, if you're in certain situations, you need to learn how to implement these changes instantaneously. So the second step in order to start social engineering is learn how to sound more trustworthy. If you're a nervous person and you stutter a lot when you meet new people, you need to cut the stuttering out. Step one, how you do that is speak slower. Number two, think of what you say before you say it. And finally, get to the point that you want to talk about. Stop beating around the bush. Nobody likes that. So if I wanted someone to see me as a very trustworthy person, I would give a lot of myself to them. However, not all of it, because it's all about give and take in business and how you speak to people socially. When you meet someone, they're usually quite closed up. That's for everyone on this earth. However, if you're the one to first make the move of telling people about yourself and what you do, but don't give everything away, then you'll naturally become across as a more trustworthy person. People tend to reciprocate energy, so before you know it, you'll get information that they would have told no one else before. And therefore you can use that information to level up and become more successful in your own business. And finally, the third step in order to social engineer is you need to do your research on the person who you want to socially engineer. Just like how you'd be doing it on the Google definition of hacking people, you need to find and research information on the people that you want to socially engineer. So for instance, let's say that you go for a job interview and this specific interviewee is very public on Facebook, Instagram, whatever the social media platform is, and you see that they support a certain football team. Let's say Tottenham Hotspur, for instance. You might not like Tottenham Hotspur, but if you go to the job interview pretending to support them, naturally, they're going to like you more because they have something in common with you. And already, you're deemed more important than the other people that have just applied because he likes you more. And then they'll tend to give you more information and more knowledge about themselves, which means they slipped up. And that's more power for you to hold in your hands. You can literally mess their whole business up and you can learn from them and you can run your own thing. And of course, I wouldn't recommend that. It's quite unethical, so please don't do that. But Mark Zuckerberg did it. That's just an example. Now he's rich. So if you don't care about morals, go ahead. Every big entrepreneur has done this before. How do you think Jeff Bezos got so rich? Social engineering. Mark Zuckerberg, social engineering. All these big people socially engineer. Now, the term seems a bit bad on top of the iceberg. But however, when you go below it and you realize it's a natural human thing, yes, it's manipulation, yes, it's to get what you want. Is it really that bad? No, because everyone does it subtly. These people socially engineer you. Look at apps like social medias on Facebook and Instagram. They plaster posts about news things that ain't even real sometimes. They're just polluting your brain and you fall for it. And then you become addicted to it. Then you use the app more and then they make more money. So if you're a person and you want to run your own business and you have no social skills, please learn how to talk to people and start implementing little social engineering tips. You will notice it because you'll get what you want. And trust me, it is taboo. However, it's a natural thing. Believe me. My name's Ty White. Thank me later.